Welcome back to the inaugural JNS International Policy Summit hosted here at the Waldorf Astoria in the heart of Jerusalem. I'm Ariella Novak, journalist and co-founder of Shields Communications PR and Bottom Line Media. I'm excited to be podcasting now through the evening at this historic two-day event. I'm now sitting with a new friend of mine here. His name is Sam van Rooy. He's a member of the Chamber of Representatives of Belgium, and I'm so pleased to be sitting beside you today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good because I'm in Israel.
Yalla, as they say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we have so much to talk about. Let's start talking especially about what is the biggest problem that the West is facing today?
Well, it starts actually with self-hate. There's a word for it, oikophobia. It comes from
Say that again.
Oikophobia.
Okay.
It's from a British conservative philosopher, Roger Scruton.
Okay.
He's very famous. And it's self-hate. It's that the Western civilization doesn't believe in itself anymore and doesn't find the strength anymore to defend its values, its history, its traditions, which are of course great. I mean, the West is the best, but we should defend it to stay the best.
Why do you think this is?
Well, there are different explanations, but one important one is that in our past we had colonialism, we had of course the Second World War, and it's being thought that that is who he is.
Yes.
And not all the great achievements that we did. And yeah, many people believe that.
So it's highlighting the wrong area.
Yes, it's only highlighting what we did wrong in the past, or the evil periods of the Western past.
And not looking at other factors.
Exactly, and there are so many, of course. I mean, again,
Speak to that.
Well, we have a free society, we have freedom of expression, we have equality of men and women,
Yes.
And we have the separation of church and state. These are all amazing achievements which are unique in the world, unique in history, unique in the world, but we really need to protect them because they are under amazing threat from different sides, but especially from Islam, of course, Islamization, as I call it.
Yes. Now, I would like to share, before we get back on track with questions, you wrote a new book. When did it come out? When was it published?
It's 2018. It's already.
Well, apparently I'm behind here. For freedom and what was it again called? For freedom and thus against Islamization, correct?
Yes.
So now it's written in Dutch. Is there a copy also written in English?
Well, not yet, but.
Oh, you see, that's why I didn't know.
Course.
So it's to come in the year 2026.
Well, I hope so. If someone wants to translate it, be my guest.
So tell me about the book.
Well, it's again trying to show to people what is at stake here. I mean, the cover says it all, I think. Is it in the
right
screen?
there? Uh-huh.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
So you see that it's our values fighting against Islamic values, and the process is called Islamization, which means that more and more traditions, rules, values of Islam are being imposed on our society, on our people, which means de facto that our own culture, our civilization is being erased and replaced by Islamic tradition and
Yes.
Islamic culture, which is of course horrible because, I mean...
Let's talk about that in education. Yeah. Why is it seeping in there so strong?
Yeah, you mean Islam?
Yeah.
Well, there are many Muslims, of course, in our classrooms nowadays, and they influence, of course, the school children, the teachers, and they are, of course, very militant. We in the West, we became quite soft, decadent, actually, also a bit lazy, while most Muslims, they are very proud and militant about their religion. It's not really a religion; it's an ideology. So yeah, they are winning because of that.
Wow. So, how do we protect the Jewish community from all this hate and everything going on now with anti-Semitism? Tell me what's going on in Europe and in Belgium.
Yeah, it's a question that really is one of the most important questions when it comes to the problem that I just addressed, Islamization, because the Jewish communities are often the first victim of Islamization. And we know the jihadi attacks, the terror attacks coming from Muslims, Orthodox Muslims, they are often pointed at the Jews first. And of course, in Antwerp, for example, especially since the 7th of October, we've seen anti-Semitism.
Tremendous amount of hate.
Yeah, every day now we have anti-Semitic incidents, you know.
And how are they handled there?
Well, not good, not good. There is not enough police protection on the street for the Jewish community, not in front of the synagogues, not in front of the
Really?
Jewish schools. No, not enough. I'm addressing that every month in the city hall to ask more visible, heavily armed police protection, and it's not enough.
Wow.
But moreover, if an anti-Semite get caught, then the punishment is like almost nothing. You know, it's very soft. Our legal system is extremely soft on criminals, on anti-Semites, so they don't get the message that they
Wow.
shouldn't do it again. You know, they are free again on the street in no time and just do it over and over again. So the Jewish community is under very severe threat, and I find it horrible. You know.
What is the Jewish life like in Belgium today?
Well, it's very mixed feelings. You know, when I talk with Jews, they say at one hand we want to stay here because we are already here in Belgium, in Antwerp, for many generations, and we have roots here, and we like it here. But on the other hand, we don't think we can stay here because of rising anti-Semitism, especially coming from the Muslim community. So they really think of leaving the country, or for their children, of course, who are now maybe 10 years old. They often don't see their future in Belgium and in Europe, and I think that's a horrible signal for the West as a whole also, because I always say if we cannot protect the Jewish community enough in order that they want to stay, then we also cannot protect ourselves, because we are
other
next.
communities suffering like this as well?
Yeah, of course. Also
In Belgium?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every non-Muslim in these Islamized neighborhoods can be a target. I mean, it can be a Christian, it can be an ex-Muslim, of course, it can be a blonde woman in a short skirt. You know, I mean, the risk that they get harassed in these Islamizing neighborhoods is very big. So they avoid often these neighborhoods, and that is Islamization.
Wow, wow, wow. Now, just to go back to your book a little, can you tell me what inspired you to write the book? And tell me what readers would be looking for should they be buying the book, which they should.
Yeah, what inspired me was what I saw with my own eyes, because I also was raised and grew up in a neighborhood that got Islamized very quickly.
Wow.
in a matter of years, in a matter of a decade. So I saw it with my own eyes. So I thought I have to write a book about the phenomenon because many people don't know it. They live in another neighborhood or another city. They don't understand what Islamization is. So that's why I wrote the book. And I also wrote it, and that is maybe for potential readers very interesting, the ex-Muslims, the apostates, as we say, who left Islam and who know the best what Islam really is, they don't get any media attention, not from the mainstream media in Belgium and in Europe. So I give them, in my book, I give them a lot of attention. I quote them extensively because I think they're very courageous, because they speak out, and they're under a lot of death threats, obviously, from Orthodox radical Muslims. But they teach us what Islam really means, and they are really our ally in the fight against Islamization.
Well, my last question for you, how do we work to influence individuals and people to support the democratic state of Israel?
Oh, very difficult question.
And I know we only have 2 minutes, so I'm
Okay.
sure we can solve this in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think a big proportion of people, honestly, and I regret saying this, is lost. When people are Jew haters, when people are just not clever enough, I don't think you can convince them. But of course, there's a quite large proportion of the people who are misled enormously by the mainstream media,
Yes.
which is in Belgium.
Who have not seen it themselves.
No,
Like
exactly.
in the conversation with Joe Rogan and Douglas Murray, right?
Exactly.
Douglas says to Joe, have you been to Israel? Have
Yeah.
you seen the aid? Have you seen the aid sitting there? And he goes, well, do I have to see it to report on it?
Exactly.
No, but if you're going to report on it, then you should know what you're seeing and what you're saying.
Definitely. Most people never visited Israel. They don't know the country, but they're swallowing all the lies and all the hatred that mainstream media is spreading about Israel every day. The mainstream media in Belgium is like Al Jazeera. That is that is where they get their information, and people see it and read it every day. So you can't even blame them, but
I understand they're being brainwashed,
They're being brainwashed, but-
without knowing.
Yes, but I do blame them a bit because they have all the possibility and freedom to
To
look
change and
other
to look
information
different.
on social media. I mean, it's all there. There's bad information on social media, but there's also a lot of good
You're
information
correct.
about Israel on
But it's
social media.
also about the algorithms, and we have a lot more to talk about. However,
Yeah.
we're out of time for today. But thank you so much for joining me
No,
here on
thank
our
you for
JNS
having me.
podcast. Of course, it's a pleasure. Stay tuned. We have more coming our way. Sam Van Rooy, it was a pleasure speaking with you. looking forward to hoping to visit Belgium, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.